Well, all across Texas, voters headed to the polls last weekend to decide some local races.
Yeah, in some school districts, Democrat-backed candidates surged to victory, while those who lean conservative suffered losses. It's another data point as we inch closer to the midterm elections in November that Democrats say shows the environment will be favorable.
Our Daniel Perot is here, and Daniel, national Democrats are really putting a lot of stock in these election results.
In the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of right-leaning candidates elected to school boards from North Texas to here in Central Texas. But over the weekend, a lot of them lost their re-election bids, knocking them out of office in what could be a changing tide. But we did also see some notable exceptions. Local and school board races are nonpartisan, and candidates don't have a D or an R next to their name. But Harvey Kronberg's Quorum Report editor Scott Braddock says last weekend it was not hard to tell who was who.
If a candidate had Democrats supporting them, they won. And if Republicans were supporting them, they lost.
In recent years, Republicans have pointed to success at the ballot box on the local level as an indicator of future success, which Braddock says means
it's probably a leading indicator for Democrats to be winning in those races in this cycle heading into November.
In Lake Travis ISD, two conservative school board members who pushed for things like book removals lost.
I think it was kind of a wake-up call, but I think for Republicans in general, it's not because of any of those things.
Braddock says Republicans are bearing the brunt of frustration with things like the war in Iran, the economy, gas prices, and inflation.
The Democrats seem to have the wind at their backs, and Republicans should be concerned, and they are.
Voters elected a Democratic mayor in Pearland, a traditional Republican stronghold south of Houston. In a social media post, the National Democratic Party called the win huge.
It's a good narrative for them to be able to say that, look, we've won these races, when we're fired up, and so we need to be just as fired up in November.
But Democrats didn't win everywhere. In a special election for State Senate District 4 in Southeast Texas, Brent Legion won 3/4 of the vote. While it's one of the reddest seats in the upper chamber, this was the second largest overperformance by a Republican nationwide this cycle. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick says the win underscores the importance of Republican unity. Earlier this year, Democrats flipped a North Texas state Senate seat in a special election.
In Tarrant County, they were divided. In Montgomery County, they were all hanging together with one candidate, and so they were able to be successful.
Democrats betting big on school districts and city halls in hopes it can translate to big wins up and down the ballot this November.
Even though they have the wind at their back, they've got to raise money, they've got to run good campaigns, and they've got to find a message that resonates with Texans and Americans if they're going to be successful.
One other thing to consider, Texas Republicans are going to have plenty of resources. Braddock says the total amount could approach $250 million. The governor and lieutenant governor both have very big war chests, and the Democratic Senate candidate James Salrico is a good fundraiser, but that's just a little taste of what he's going to be up against. In the studio, Daniel Perot, KVUE News.